Hey, I'm David Clayman, and I'm reviewing WrestleMania 21, which is the WWE's return to the Xbox. Well, I mean, the first thing I think people are going to notice about this game are definitely the graphics. It's what people have noticed from most of the previews, from the videos, from the screenshots, and it has excellent graphics. This is partially due to the excellent player models. They are made up of about 10,000 polygons, as opposed to the SmackDown series, which has peaked out at about 6,000. This is also due to the motion capture. Everything in this game is motion captured. From the career mode segments, to the moves, to the reversals, to the entrances, everything's been captured. And this makes everything look very realistic, but it also slows down a lot of the moves, so it's kind of like a double-edged sword. Overall, I'd say that it needs to be some of the areas need to be sped up where there's absolutely no gameplay going on. There's areas where a person's getting up off the ground where his opponent can't hit him and he can't perform any moves, and these just add large sequences where neither player is doing anything. Besides the graphics, another really great thing in this game is the Create a Wrestler. When you go into Create a Wrestler, you have a ton of options, both concerning his size, what he wears, the hairstyle, the entrance. So you can really get into some really heavy detail, and this can take up almost an entire day just customizing what the character looks like. You can customize your entrance from the entrance music, which can be ripped directly from the custom soundtrack, to the pyrotechnics that go off, to your entrance animations. And as you advance through career mode and you win money, you can unlock even more customization options. You can then take this wrestler and bring him into your Xbox Live game, which is really a huge bonus. The menu by which you create the character is a little bit clunky. You go over a t-shirt, you go over shirtless, and seeing what your character looks like with these options selected. Instead, you have to select the option, it'll apply it to your character, then you have to go back out to the menu and switch. This can become a bit frustrating after a while when you're customizing things down to your eyebrow size. While the graphics are fantastic, the sound is not as good. Wrestling fans will notice that a lot of the licensed music is the same as from earlier SmackDown games, so the tracks are noticeable and immediately recognizable. There's custom soundtracks, so you're not forced to listen to these, but it would have been nice to have some new music. The announcers and the wrestlers all did their own voice work. This is a positive, except that a lot of the voiceover work sounds very wooden and out of place, and it doesn't really mesh with the animations, which are a lot slower than usual. The announcers are also using a lot of canned phrasing. This has always been a problem in wrestling games where when you hear something different from maybe one match to the next, by that third match, you're going to have heard all the canned phrases that are going to appear in the game. The AI isn't going to be immediately noticeable when you're in a one-on-one match, but as soon as you start adding other components like a ladder or a tag team match or two-person on one, you're going to start to notice that often the opponents have no idea what to do. So if you're in a normal one-on-one match and a third person enters the ring and you start to get double teamed, the third person walks around the ring a lot, they do a lot of taunts, but they really have trouble engaging you in the battle. Basically, the experience of a match strike feels a little bit broken because when you go in for a strike, you're never really sure if it's going to connect or not. And the punishment for missing a strike is huge. You miss the strike, you writhe on the ground, and then your opponent gets up before you can and can apply another move to you. Problems with match strikes continues when you're talking about submission moves. When the difficulty is turned up, so you're fighting a bunch of pros, once they get you into a fall, they can apply an arm lock while your character is trying to recover. They can then reapply the same arm lock over and over and over again because you don't recover quickly enough. On the easier difficulty settings, this works in the opposite direction. You can apply the same match strike, whether it's a submission or an elbow drop, over and over again until the computer has been completely beaten. Inevitably, you're going to figure out, or your opponent's going to figure out, that you can apply a series of the same types of submissions or the same type of fall strikes that's going to win you the match no matter what. So when you take all of these points just by themselves, it doesn't really make for a bad game, but when you start adding them together, you end up with some really frustrating gameplay. In my opinion, if you took this game's gameplay and swapped it out with one of the SmackDown series, but kept the visuals and the online component, you'd have a really amazing wrestling game, a legitimate 9.0. If you must have a wrestling game on Xbox, or you're only going to play multiplayer or on Xbox Live, this game can offer you some fun. However, the single-player game has a few too many flaws to really make it a consistently fun experience. The Create a Wrestler modes and the presentations in terms of graphics are really outstanding. Hopefully these will be meshed with some better gameplay in the future. Wrestling fans should definitely give this game a shot, but you should probably rent it before you make an impulse purchase.